Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jen Marples Show. Today, I've got a gorgeous guest, and she's a friend of the Jen Marples Show. You've seen her here before or heard her here before if you're listening many, many times. It's Lizzie Bermudez in the house.
Hey,
Lizzie, hello,
hello.
welcome
Thanks for having me again, Jen.
again. And if you've been living under a rock, you're new to me. Lizzie is podcast guest numero uno, number one of the Jen Marples Show. So she's been around for a long time. We've been friends for a long time. And we've been having this conversation a lot. And I'm like, you know what? Let's have this conversation so you guys can all benefit, hopefully, from this conversation. And it's about empty nesting and sending your kids away and the power and the necessity of friendships. So these are two things I know that are top of mind for so many of you. Lizzie has a great TikTok and Instagram presence, and she just has been posting about empty nesting because one of her girls is actually at a boarding school for her senior year in high school. So she is experiencing the full empty nest a year before she was even thinking she was going to do it. So it's an interesting perspective. And so she's been throwing out a lot of queries on social media, and so many responses. I've been seeing the responses like advice, people sad, people happy. I mean, it kind of runs the gamut.
It does.
And
It
I've
does.
done my own crying in my Cheerios posts and just talk. I will talk to anybody who will listen at this point. The grocery store, how are you? Oh, my son is back at school. How are you? Like, I'm unhinged. And so we felt like we know if we're having this conversation, we're seeing it online. We wanted to bring it to you guys just so you know, if anything else, you're not alone. Always and forever, one of my goals with this podcast is to know that you are not alone. We're all dealing with all the things. And the things we're talking about today, again, are going to be empty nesting and the power of friendship. So, Lizzie, let's get into it. So, you just did a big post about empty nesting and the fact that you took your daughter Ella to school a year early. Like, this was great. I'll let you tell the story, but you had this great opportunity for her. And now, so she's got this great opportunity. She's living her best life. And now all of a sudden, y'all are empty nesters. Like, how did it all happen? How is it going? And then we're going to talk about sort of what you're seeing online and what other people are telling you.
It's so funny. So my oldest is in college, but she's studying abroad right now, which is a whole, when you think about empty nesting and you start thinking about your child traveling alone in another country, that adds a whole other thing to the mental load. But my youngest, yeah, she's her senior year, she's at boarding school, and it was a very quick, unexpected, wonderful thing that happened at like mid to end of July this summer. And so I did not get a lot of time, which I think in hindsight is probably pretty good, Jen, to think about it and to dwell on it and ruminate over it and get in my feels. Because once we got this, she got this opportunity. It was so good. It was like, okay, we're all on Team Ella, and we don't have time as a family to get all sad and emotional because our job is to launch her with as much excitement and confidence as possible. And so she actually started doing this. It's gonna my last summer home with you guys, and I didn't know it was gonna be the last. And she kept saying last, last, and I was going, stop, 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 stop. I'm like, Ella, stop. It's it's not the last, honey. It's not the last. I'm like, we're gonna do a huge mindset shift. This is a first. This is a first for our family. This is the first time anybody in our family's gone to boarding school. This is the first time that you get to study in another state. And I'm like, we're still going to go on family vacations. We're still going to meet up at the holidays. I'm like, no, get rid of the last. Nobody's going anywhere. You're just studying somewhere else. That helped us. And then it was just like we just kept spinning it. Like this is a really amazing opportunity. And we coined it as college training. Like she's training for college, that she gets to go someplace where she has the structure, she's got the scheduling, she's got all these adults, she's got rules, there's lots of parameters, and she's got tons of support, but she's on her own. And I said, this is exactly what you need before you launch into college. So we got her like all in the right mindset and that made me feel good as a mom because it happened so quickly. Because my job was I need to make her feel really good and confident as she goes across the country. Um, Leaving her sucked. we can use it. Sucked ass. I'm not gonna lie, it was awful. Leaving was awful, but I was like, she's not gonna see me cry. I can save that for the car or for the plane ride home. And the whole time I just kept just building her up, like feeding into her, like giving her stuff to put in her little emotional suitcase so that when we were gone, she could keep taking something out, little nugget from mom and dad. Um, when we got home, I think I did have some moments where I walked around the house and was completely like, what literally just happened? Like we got home from a summer family vacation and then we were packing and across the country and she was done and I was like, and then the house was empty. Literally happened in a couple of weeks. That was a moment also. Um, After that, I was okay for the most part until she had her 18th birthday. And it was the first time that we celebrated her 18th birthday and she wasn't with us. And I was just rocked my world. That one rocked my world, not gonna lie. Um, but it's kind of like this is what you do as a mom. It's like you grow these humans, you nurture them, you hope you've created the foundation and everything that they need to go out into the real world and succeed and be good humans. And so now it's like we're cheering her on from afar. Um, I'm excited for myself because I've poured so much into my children. That's exciting. So every time the mind's a powerful thing, Jen. Every time I start to get, I don't know, it's like worried or fearful, stressed, I really have to be conscious to stop that and bring it back and be like, no, like these are all good things. And look, you have no idea what you get to do next. That's so exciting. All these ideas that you've had percolating, you finally get to, stop and just focus on those now that you're not putting it all into the girls. So it is a mixed bag of emotions. Um, but yeah, I think raising humans is an amazing job, an amazing gift we get, but it is tough AF. That whole pulling away and walking away is something that you aren't prepared for. You just have to go through. Um, yeah, I mean, it's like I like to say it's very dialectical. It's so beautiful, and then you're like, dude, this is messy AF. It is hard.
You know, and all of you listening, and Lizzie and I have had this talk for hours because our favorite thing to do is to go out to dinner in the city, and then I'll take Lizzie home, and then we talk in her
In the driveway in the
in the
car.
driveway for like hours. And I get home, I'm like, okay, what's the last minute I could possibly go to sleep and still function the next day? And I'm usually going to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning because we're talking about this kind of stuff. And one thing I wanted to bring up, and we talked about this recently because we had just come off of you taking Ella to school, that there's this deep grief. And I think no one really talks about the grief of just your kids leaving the nest.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's all sorts of different types of grief. And it's the thing that really knocked me off my socks. And, I think we all just feel like, because everybody does it. Literally everybody does it. All kids, we left the nest, all kids leave the nest. And I'm not even one of those people who was like around doing all the things. Like I've always worked and I was stretched. And so I wasn't even like hovering over them, having them be like filling up every single minute of my life. So I think I had it in my mind, oh, Jen, you're so tough. Like they're going to be free and we're going to have so much freedom and this and that. And oh my God, like I just have been crying for a year and it's really taken me by surprise. And I think one of life's cruel jokes is that for me in particular, I didn't love having little kids. It was very stressful for me. And I just love them more now. I mean, of course, the same amount of love, but just really enjoy their company, like just their own people. And I'm like, oh, well, that's just really cruel. And now you're leaving because we're so good and you're not stressing me out. Um, And just I remember when I dropped my son off, you guys have all heard it here if you've been listening to the podcast. When I dropped him off for the first time a year ago, like I didn't even know what to do with myself. I mean, I was like sobbing on the plane. I kept it in for him, sobbing on the plane, went into his bedroom, was just like sobbing. My husband's like, what the hell? I'm like, just leave. Like, just leave. I'm like, couldn't, like, almost like sick to my stomach. I was crying so hard. And then when he left again for school this fall, after spending so many months together, I had a sadness. I knew something was coming. And then one day somebody said something, and there I was again, like sobbing. And we just had parents' weekend a week ago as I'm recording this. And I was all heavy that last morning. And again, watching something, you said this, Lizzie, watching them walk away.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different than like leaving the house and going to the airport. But when we're watching them walk away into their environment, that's their little house, their little setup, their world, that's not us. I mean, you're equal parts like so proud of them and what they can do, but so deeply sad. I'm like, Jesus, am I ever going to get over this? And of course, you know, and all of you listening, like my girls are seniors in high school. So same age as Ella, but my girls are here. And so they're going to be out the door. So I'm just crying all the time.
Yeah.
So we're just crying all the time. So what I'm curious, Lizzie, is, you know, you've been really good about like hopping on social media with your feelings, like right in it, like, hey, like we talk about all the things up in here. It's like, it's gray hair, it's this, it's that. But then you popped on about empty nesting in kind of week 1, week 2, because there's also the relationship with your spouse, there's the relationship with yourself. So tell me what you've been hearing sort of on the interwebs. Like, what are people sharing with you? I am so curious.
It's like you said, it really does. It covers the gamut as far as, you know, moms getting on, because all the comments primarily, I think, have been from women that comment on my social media, have just been like right there with you, or you think it's hard now, wait till this, and then they move across the country or out of the country. I'm like, no, don't say, like, don't say that. And then some are like, oh yeah, you missed them now. They'll be back. Don't you worry, but they'll have grandkids that they're going to drop off. And, you know, just there's silly comments like that. And then there's others who are like, oh my God, this is the best time, girl. Go celebrate. You know, you rolled your oyster. Go do this, go do that. You know, what do you like? What hobbies are you interested in? So it really does just like kind of cover the gamut as far as where you are. I think, like, I have a sister that's a couple years younger than I am, and she's got 3 older kids. And we're as the same as we are, we're so different. And the way she processes and handles life events is so different. And she's just like, life is good. And, you know, she's moving and grooving and working out and traveling. And I'm like, did you cry? I'm looking at them all, did you cry for any of them? My goodness. I just think you have to honor what you feel. Like everybody, we're all different. We're all created different, and we all fit. We're both empaths. We know that about each other. I think that's why we click. We feel deeply. Like I feel immense joy and laughter when it happens. But man, when that grief hits or that sorrow hits, I also feel that deep down in my soul, and that's takes the wind out of me sometimes. I think you just have to let yourself, you know, feel all the feels, whatever that is, whichever way you go, and be okay and comfortable with that, and not get embarrassed. Because I've got friends who are like, really? Like, why are you, right? Girl, put your big girl panties on. Stop. Like, what are you fussing about? Carry on. They're fine. And then others are like, we'll sit there. They're like, do you want me to cry with you? You know, what can I do for you? You just have to honor your feelings, and we're all going to have a different response.
I'm glad you said that, because I was literally the year before my son left, I was crying at everybody's like TikToks and Instagrams of like the moms ahead of me taking their kids to school, because I guess I knew deep down that that's how it was going to be. And you brought up something that I think is important. And, you know, I'm like a highly sensitive person, empath, and it's not, and I love my mom, but I was like, Mom, you know, she's like, don't be so sensitive, like growing up, because things would impact me. I'm like, and I just think it's kind of a dangerous thing to say to people, like, don't be so sensitive, because it's actually, first of all, I think it's a superpower, because it means you're tapped in. Like you can read a room, I can read a room, I can read feelings and energy and all of that. And so to tell somebody don't be so sensitive, it's kind of like it's like you're kind of shitting on you of like it's not okay to have these feelings and emotions, like it somehow makes me feel weak or less than. And it's, I think for a lot of us, and this goes to midlife, we're swimming in a lot of new territory. So there's the territory of the kids leaving, or we're dealing with getting kids out the door, or there's, you know, friends with kids that they're married and having babies, like all that stuff, like all the people on Instagram were telling you, like there's all that other stuff that's also happening. And there's the jobs and careers and wellness and menopause and hormones, and there's so much new territory that we're navigating, that I just think we need to be sensitive with how we speak to each other, and go, instead of trying to say, oh, just suck it up, or oh, it'll get better, like, and this goes to kind of anything that you're going through. It's
Right.
like, you know, just listening without any judgment, and just say, you know, what do you need? Like, do you need a hug? Do you need me to cry with you? Do you need to take you out of your house and go on a walk? Or like, how can I help you? And just,
Yeah.
do you want a solution maybe? Or do you want me just to listen? Because I think all of us just need right now, for myriad reasons, just a good friend to listen. That's why, like, you and I made it a point to go out to dinner,
Yeah.
because you know, you're feeling sad, I was feeling sad. Like, well, the best antidote is like grabbing a friend, and like, not to say we were not crying in our Chardonnay all night at all by any means, but just to know the most important thing, again, it all comes back to knowing that you're not alone. And
Yeah.
that's why we wanted to bring this conversation to light. So my other question for you is, okay, we've talked about your own heart and the kids. How is it with the husband?
Oh
Like,
my
how's the
God.
dynamic in the house now
Is this
without
the
with the
rated PG version or the rated R version, Jen?
girl? You know, give it to us. Give it. Like, is there hope? Is it? Do you need to take a lover? Like, what do we need? What's
Do I have
happening?
a UTI yet? Is that what you're asking? Oh my God.
Oh,
I was actually really, to be honest, I was really nervous and dreading. I know that's a horrible thing to say, but a part of me was like, oh my God, when my girls leave, I'm going to be alone in the, I love my husband, but we're going to be in the house together. Oh my God, what am I, he works from home and now the girl, I was, you know, kind of ruminating and actually really nervous. But it has been such a beautiful surprise. It has been so good for us. It has been so lovely, so amazing. I was telling somebody, I would go, I feel like the early days of when we were just newlyweds. That's just
mm.
that, just being able to converse about things. It's not this transit. Did you pick her up? Are you going to go to here? Don't forget this performance. Da, 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 da. And we got to go to buy sports basement and don't blah, 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 blah. We're going to be traveling here. All that. There's a lot of transactional conversations that happen when the kids are in the house. And now it's like, you know, he's like, are you going to take up golf? He's teasing me because I'm playing pickleball. You know, we're making plans, going out to dinner, having date nights, doing different things. It's been like I want to have sex again. It's yeah, it's been I know we're only a month in, but it's been a really good month, I'd say, for my husband and I. Yeah.
Well,
And if
that's
you would asked me a year ago, I'm not quite sure I would have said that. I would have been like, oh shit. I don't know.
that's probably a big, interesting. I guess like I want to ask this question. Like, they take that one to social media, Lizzie, and like ask like how everybody's sex lives have improved or not. I mean, it's probably kind of like what happened during COVID. Like, oh, you're either going to be the guy I'm in the foxhole with, or you got to get the fuck out.
Right, right, right.
Like, it's going to be like one of those two things, right?
Although
Like,
I have to throw a disclaimer, I'm also recently on testosterone. So that may just, I don't know. People are asking, ooh, is it the testosterone or that you're an empty nester now? Speaking of empty nester, though, I know I just threw two things out there, testosterone and empty nester. I just read an article about a new term. Did you see it called, instead of calling it the empty nester or the free birds, it was the open door, using that term for your kids leaving home. I
oh,
actually liked that, the open door.
well, according to like my cousin who has her youngest is our girl's age, and then she has two college graduated sons who've been in the workforce who are living back at home, and one in college. She's like, oh, Jen, careful what you wish for. they come back.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. Well, we'll do another podcast on that in a few years because I'm like, that's also not my goal because I
Right.
don't think it's, I mean, but they're trying to save money to get to the next whatever. But I was like, oh, that's really interesting. But now they're really big and they're set in their ways. And she's like, there's shit everywhere. So she actually wants them out. So before where she was crying about it, now she's like, when are we going to have enough money saved to go get our apartment downtown in Chicago?
Right.
When is that happening? Like, so that happens. I was going to ask you about the testosterone. That's interesting. There's probably a confluence of things. And when I saw you for dinner, had I gone to Mammoth yet, or was I about to go? So I went away. We have a family cabin in Mammoth. And my son had been back at school already. And my husband was like, he could just see I was like stressed about a lot of stuff. He's like, let's just you and I for Labor Day go to our cabin because we can't, there's a lot of travel you can't do until these kids are all out the door. They were working in sports and the whole 9 yards. It's like, okay. Because we haven't been up there alone in 21 years. This is to your point of like feeling like the dating years again. 21 years since we were alone in this cabin. I'm like, okay, let's do it. The first night I rolled in, cried. Where are my kids? Because I'm used to them being there, like sobbed. Second day, cried. It's like, Jesus Christ, woman, like get over yourself. Like, come on. Eventually, like got myself out of it. And I went hiking and he was working on some cabin projects, like spent some quality time by myself. And then, we had like a fun night, read between the lines. And I was like, okay, well, okay. So maybe this can be part of our life again because
Yeah.
we have so many constraints. And when you do have kids in the house, I mean, come on, it's our house. We have thin walls, California house, thin walls. Like I do not have like a 10,000 square foot mansion where there's his and her quarters and like soundproof walls and whatever. But it's like, okay, but it gave me it helped me process something, but also gave me hope that we could roll again as that couple that we were like in our 20s when we first fell in love.
Yeah.
Which I don't think you can experience that. It's not like these kids aren't going to be tapping into us because we get all the texts and the class and this, I need a suit for that. We're still in communication with them, but when they're not in our four walls or we're just kind of alone, you can really tap back into, I think, who you were, which is who you've always been, but we've also been putting everybody else first.
Yeah.
So I just, what can we leave everybody with? I think that, well, first of all, we talked about the importance of friendships. And I think Lizzie's working on something sort of behind the scenes to bring women together. And I've got a couple of things brewing. You guys all know about some of the events I'm actually attending the next couple of weeks. Also, I'm planning some stuff. My advice to all of you, wherever you are in the world, is lean in on friends, lean in on going to events and stretching yourself. I've been saying this since the dawning of time. And you might meet your new best friend, like at a book signing for somebody, because you just happen to be like going through the exact same thing. Open yourself up to it. And then all these new doors are going to open up, and then it's going to help fill you up in a different way. Like we're still going to be sad about these transitions. And I know they're temporary. Was that from Moonstruck? Everything is temporary.
Right.
We know rationally, we know it's temporary, but in the meantime, like lean in. I've been personally leaning in and making times for dinners and coffees and even Zoom dates. And I'm usually the one who has my head down and doesn't look up. But I'm like, I tell all y'all to do this. I need it too. We need our deep girlfriend relationships. Like,
yeah, and for women out there, everybody's talking about the longevity studies that seem to be everywhere these days. The thing that increases your life and promotes longevity the most is community, is making sure you have community. And yeah, I did a bit of a women's retreat a couple weekends ago where I only knew the host. And I was like, this is out of my comfort zone. I'm just going to go for it. Fabulous, fabulous time. Fabulous time. Walked away with some new friendships. But yeah, lean on your friends. And for those, I think, Jen, we're pretty lucky because we live in San Francisco. We're in a major city. There's always an event. There's things to go to. And then you get people that might leave comments or write in and say, yeah, but what happens if you live in, I don't know, Mississippi or somewhere else across or out rural area where there aren't events, there aren't book signings, there aren't women convening together. Going online and finding your community also. I have had so many beautiful friendships start online, slipping into somebody's DMs. And I think maybe twice now I've said, hey, let's grab coffee or let's do a Zoom. And the person was like, yeah, and never made it. And it just kind of blew me off. And I was like, okay, that happens. That was like, no biggie, move on to the next person. But most people are really, really like, yeah, let's meet up. Let's talk. Let's grab a coffee. Let's Zoom or something. And it's a great way to meet people, I think, especially as we go through this new stage of life.
The whole new stage. But I also do think it is very exciting, and it's holding Chip Conley. I just love the way Chip Conley writes, and he's been on the podcast. Everybody follow him on LinkedIn. He writes beautifully. It's like he writes about everything I'm thinking. And one of his last posts was about holding this tension of sort of what was, and what's to be. We've talked about it here too, that I call it like the duality, where you can be so sad over here crying in your Cheerios about kids or some things with your parents or what have you, but then truly be so excited over here. It is possible to hold those two things at once. And you don't have, somebody said it to, who the hell said this to me? They're like, it's okay to feel this way, but just don't pitch your tent. Like, don't pitch your tent in the grief, kind of like pitch your tent in the middle so you can like kind of go back and forth, because that's just, first of all, life. And it's certainly a lot of what we're going through. The good news is I think the happiest age is 70. So we've got, I mean, hopefully I don't want to get to 70 anytime soon, but like, hey, if 70, somebody had written a Substack about Kim Gordon, who is the singer for Sonic Youth. And she was like, photographed in these killer outfits at the Chateau Marmont. And like, of course she was like a rock star. And of course she's going to look amazing. But I'm like, okay, if Kim Gordon can be happy.
Exactly.
70, like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go like put that on my vision board.
And I keep reminding myself too, like that these are the good old days. I'm like, these are the good old days. I know 15 years from now, God willing that I'm still breathing, that I'm going to be like, oh, remember those? Like these are the good old, right now, we are living in the good old days.
Hello, you and me are going to be 100-year anniversary karaoke party. I'm holding us accountable to a 100th birthday party.
Although I swear I'm like the only Filipino that cannot sing karaoke. So I hate to break it to you, Jen.
I cannot sing either. We'll just do it. We'll videotape it once. Maybe we'll have a live podcast recording from a karaoke place or something. I have a karaoke mic in my closet that's right there. Like, so I can do like mobile karaoke. Oh my God. I'm so glad you came on today to talk about this, because I already feel better about all of it. And so this is the power of girlfriends and talking it out. And it goes to my original mission of like, when we come together and share our deepest truths, we feel more connected and less alone. Wow. And so you're listening to this, and what's going to be the date that this drops is going to be October 1st, I believe, or October 2nd. So we're going to be in October. And so there are a bunch of things coming out. I will be at the Flow Space event in LA, October 9th. It's a free event. I'm going to link that in the show notes. Also, as we speak, our dear friend Anne-Marie McQueen is hosting the Hot Flash Inc. Summit. There's 36 experts that are being featured. I'm giving my talk on being, you're not too fucking old, and opportunities and chasing dreams and all that kind of good stuff. It's not too late. You just need to register by October 2nd. You can also register for VIP, and she's doing a whole community chat if you wanted to do VIP on the weekend. So that's a way to like get involved and get connected. So as things pop up, make sure you're on my newsletter list. I'm going to be sharing my whole new shiny thing I'll be launching really soon. I will share it next week to start building community. And I'm going to start sharing a lot more community events that are happening locally here in the Bay Area where I live, as well as across the country, because I know y'all aren't here. We wish you could all be here. Yeah. But
can I share one piece of advice, Jen? Because I know you
please do.
The next few months with both of your girls at home. A dear friend told me, I know with my oldest, when I was in her senior year of high school, and I was getting myself all worked up and super emotional. And she said, I hate being that person that's trying to tell you, oh, do this or do that. but here I'm just going to share these words and you can do what you want with them. And she said, try not to mourn everything like this quote last year of high school, mourning that they're leaving, mourning it's their last prom, mourning it's a homecoming, and she said change that to like cherish like that this is happening while they're still home, cherish that you get to do this again. And when she said that, every time we would have, oh my God, is this going to be I say in my head, like, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm like, no, I'm going to stop. I'm going to cherish this. This is a beautiful moment. I don't have to go into that dark space of making it super sad. And I'm just going to cherish this. And I can cry. I can still cry, but I'm going to have just like leave it with a different imprint, I think, in my heart and in my mind by just like, I'm cherishing this moment because this is what it is.
I love it because, there aren't going to be our last times with our children. We're not sending them off to go like do a 10-year tour of duty or something like
Right.
that. I do appreciate that. And I remember you saying something to me before, something to that degree of like, don't pre-grieve
Right.
what's to come. And I'm glad you said cherish because actually, just a funny aside, I took one of my girls to go see Twilight on Broadway. It was like the Twilight concert. And so we're Twihards. And I just happened to see an ad. I was like, what do you think? She's like, oh my God, we have to go. I'm like, let's go. So we got all dressed up. We wore our Twilight t-shirts, but we made it cute with accessories and whatnot. Had dinner and went to go see Twilight in San Francisco with the full orchestra, and the crowd was hooting and hollering. And I cried for a different reason because I'm crying all the time now, but like just being so thankful and cherishing the moments. And so I told my other daughter, I said, you got to pick something now. Like, let's go do that. Because it's hard to kind of separate twins. But I think for all of us, if you've got the kids at home still, like to really focus on some quality time. It's not that stuff where it's in your house because it's a totally different experience. And we were like meeting was like almost like adult to adult. And I was like, God damn, I love my kids. But I didn't feel sad after that night. I felt really happy and filled up. So I'm glad you said that because I think cherish is such a nice word versus like the grieving and the sadness and the last. And
I told my daughter too, I think one of them asked like, all right, easy with the tears. Why are we being so dramatic? And I just said, hey, I said, this is the first time I've ever had to go through this. This is the first time I'm launching a daughter. This is the first, and once they kind of saw that, they're like, oh, this is new to you too. Okay, okay. They gave me a little bit of grace, because mom's over there in the corner crying so much. So
yeah, I've had those
your daughter.
conversations, Drew. They don't understand because they think about themselves like, and that's how they're programmed to be. And we were probably like that with our parents. But I said, I've had that with my son. I'm like, I'm just a mom whose kid is thousands of miles away and I'm emotional. It's because I love you. It's like, oh, okay. They're sweet about it, but they
Right.
like, what's happening over here? I'm like, okay, all right. Lizzie, it has been so fun having you on. I'm so glad we had this conversation. I just think it was appropriate because there's a lot of videos of just drop the baby off at school, all the conversations you're having, the ones I'm having. And so I think just, speaking these things out loud and just knowing all y'all listening that you're not alone. And
You want testosterone? That was
that's
my testosterone plug at the end.
that's gonna be my next thing. And I think I need to
If you want to have sex. If you don't, then just don't get on it.
but even if you want to start fantasizing again about a
Yeah,
Hemsworth,
exactly.
go get some testosterone. Because Jason Momoa might pop up in your dreams. You never know. Calling in a testosterone sponsor for the podcast. Hello, hello. Are you out there? I'm calling you in. We'll do some testing for you. Report back. And then we get punchy. And then we ended up, on a high note because, that's how we do it. So Lizzie, tell everybody where, if they don't know where you are and don't follow you, where they can follow you and get up in your world.
On Instagram, Lizzie BTV, LAZZIE BTV. Although primarily I am posting over on TikTok. So same handle. You can find me over on TikTok. Some really just like content that I think the conversations that you're having with your girlfriends. Those are the things that I talk about over on TikTok.
Yeah, I can't remember the last thing something you posted, and that was maybe hair dye. I'm like, you'll take my hair dye out of my cold dead
Yeah.
hands. In fact, someone's going to have the secret recipe. So when I do get laid to rest, there won't be any gray hair. I mean, my mom, that's like in her like last wishes too. She gets her hair done every 3 weeks. She's like, we're like, Mom, it's cool. Like we got you, we got you. But that's the kind of fun Lizzie's having over on TikTok, talking about the real stuff. Well, it has been an absolute joy to have you on here, my dear friend. Podcast
I
guest
love
number
you.
one,
Thank
my
you.
repeat guest. Just love having you because we can just get right into it and talk about the real stuff. So hopefully all y'all feel less alone, had a little laugh, have a little hope, and just know you're worthy of joy and cherishing your moments. And, hit us up if it gets hard because, we love to talk. So hit us up. Hit us up. So leave everybody right now, Lizzie, with your one you're not too fucking old wish for them as
Oh,
you
God.
sign off.
Like it would be like you're not too fucking old to like start something new. Like that's how I feel like this is all brand new and it's exciting and slightly terrifying, all at the same time. So you're not too fucking old to start something new. So just remember that you're not
Boom
too fucking
diggity.
old. Yeah.
Not too fucking old. I love it. And I love you. And thanks for
Right.
being here, my friend.
Love you.